but I had asked for, I'm sure everyone remembers, I wanted our emails just published to the website to kind of streamline things. I had asked for an update on where we were, or if there was the best policy in place to do that. Because I have to wonder, you could bankrupt the city if you turned in, you know, if somebody requested 8 weeks, separate weeks of emails and turned in a thumb drive to get emails, like that adds up quickly. If that's our procedure, is turning things over to legal counsel to vet all the emails. Maybe there's a system in place where as soon as they're in that week, they get digested and they get uploaded, or they don't. They fall into a category that is not public. But really, you could bring a city. I don't think anyone has that intention, but you could. You could turn in and say, I want this week, this month, all these dates. And how's the city handle that? I don't know, but I would like to see something before that day comes.
Councillor Mattow, then Councillor Stone, then Mr. Morse.
I'm glad that Councillor Kolosky brought that up with what we're going through with the current email request and how much this is going to end up costing the city in the end. I think of some kind of a policy going forward that every email that goes back and forth has some kind of a category put to it at the time it's written. That way, if somebody requests something 3 years down the road for the last 3 years of email, somebody just has to sort those emails, and they've already been vetted out as to what isn't public and what is. But it's done at the time the email is written. That way, somebody doesn't have to spend thousands of dollars vetting them down the road.
Wait, okay, Mr. Morris.
I was gonna say, I can look into that, but to be able to do that, we would have to run all those emails through our attorney, because the Supreme Court has now put a balancing test on what is public and what is not public. So I don't think that's something that I would do, and I would not feel comfortable categorizing emails that could be released or not released.
Well, I would think common sense would tell you 90% of what you write is you can make that decision. It's the 10% that you might question that you can ask the attorney about, but the 90% that common sense would tell you, you know, the DPW director is sending you an email about what street he's going to pay. Do we have to send that in 3 years to the attorney at $200 an hour to him to tell you that's not, that we can release that? I think the ones that are pretty common sense that you can release should be marked as okay to release or something like that. So down the road, those can all be sorted out, and the ones that are questionable, only those can go instead of 8,000 emails going to the attorney.
Councillor Stone, then Assistant Mayor Danvers.
Just for clarification, Mr. Kolosky, when you were talking about triaging these emails, you're looking at doing it like preventatively for later on.
Yeah.
The problem with that is if you start marking emails from the devil advocate side as privileged, does it truly fit the legal definition of 91A being privileged, which it still puts us all in the same ballpark. So from my point of view, I don't think we're going to accomplish anything by talking about it tonight, because there's no easy way to do it.
Yeah, and that was going to be my point as well. I think what best advised, I think the city manager had said, he'd look at it, try to come forward with a procedure or some means of doing it. But what we're doing is trying to come up with something here ad hoc this evening that I don't think we're going to do.
Councillor Ahern.
My only issue is that it goes back to, I think most of us will remember a couple years ago, the Claremont was the hardest place to get a 91A request out of. Somehow we're just right back to that, where it's taking how many months for this to be done. Again, we're having 4 attorneys looking at emails. As far as I'm concerned, you know, emails that are sent by counselors are public, unless it's regards to a personnel issue. But, you know, should be public. And I've always said that I don't know why we have a Gmail account. We should just have a city so that everything goes through the hub here. And it's not having to reach out to us, say, hey, what's your password? No, I haven't changed my password since I got. I have to call the communication people, say, oh, well, what was the password? I don't remember what it is. So, but
So is what this, we're under future agenda items and directives. So is the directive from the council to put together some type of policy on how to better respond to 91A requests?
I asked many, many months ago for an update on what, if it's still a firm stance from administration that this is the road we're going down, or are we back to, some of these make sense just to put on the website for easy access. And I really think, just to your point, the bottom of several of those, if they came to us from legal counsel, it gives you very clear language on the bottom that this is, do not reply to this. And then I happen to see that that's almost applied to almost every email now, which doesn't make sense to me.
Well,
Okay.
to avoid
All right, we don't need to have a agenda item discussion now.
I just wanted an
Is-
update.
Yeah, okay, thank you. What is the guidance to the city manager? You want an update on the procedure for responding to 91A requests? Is that correct?
Because I do have a real concern.
I-
Eight thumb drives to the city after this one is completed could,
I
you know,
understand.
was that $1 million?
I
That's our
understand.
procedure.
Okay, so an update on that. Anything else? Counselor Hearn?
I don't know if it's a I can hear myself. I don't know if it's a agenda item. I think that due to the legislative change and the ordinance change on the police commission, I think